And now to that deadly helicopter crash over the Hudson River in New York City. The tragedy caught on camera. And I have to warn you, it is a distressing sight. You can see the chopper plunging straight down as it appears to break apart in the sky before then splashing into the water. All 6 people on board now confirmed dead. The victims of this latest air tragedy, the pilot and a couple with their 3 children who were visiting from Spain. Witnesses describing the devastating moments as this all unfolded.
I heard it sounded like a engine just dying, and it was like do 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 do, and I just turned, I looked, and I saw the helicopter crash and splash into the water.
Everybody was like screaming, we were crying.
Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Stephen Romo and former U.S. Army Black Hawk pilot Elizabeth McCormick. Stephen, what more are we learning about this crash and the victims?
Yeah, it is difficult, these updates, hearing that there's these 3 young children involved in this. Anna, as you mentioned, we do know that this family visiting from Spain along with their children were on a sightseeing helicopter trip when this happened. They have been identified. Agustin Escobar, along with his wife, Merci Cami Ruby Montal, and their 3 children, along with the pilot of that helicopter, all pronounced dead. We know that he is a businessman who worked for Siemens in Spain, who was visiting and then decided to take this helicopter trip, traveling with their 3 children. Of course, a situation like this becomes much more painful once you can put faces to this tragedy. We know that flight took off around 3 p.m. from a Wall Street area heliport. And as for what happened to that helicopter, as you mentioned, it appears from the bystander video that it broke up in midair before it flipped over and then tumbled into the Hudson below. We do know the UK outlet, The Telegraph, is reporting that it spoke to the owner of that chopper, and he told them, quote, he, meaning the pilot, called in that he was landing and that he needed fuel, and it should have taken him about 3 minutes to arrive. But 20 minutes later, he didn't arrive. We're all devastated. That is the update from The Telegraph. Now, crews were working into the night to try to pull that wreckage out of the water. They remain on site right now. We've seen boats and vessels moving out of that area where they continue to search right now. We also know the NTSB is investigating, looking into the cause of this, looking into the pilot, looking at that wreckage to try to piece together what they happened. One thing we do know, this is an extremely busy area, and there are many witnesses who may have seen something. All those pieces could go into that puzzle to figure out what went wrong here, Anna.
Oh, just so sad. Stephen, thank you. Keep us posted on any new information as it comes in. Elizabeth, based on what we've seen and what we know at this moment and your expertise flying helicopters, do you have any idea what could have gone wrong?
So one of the videos shows that the rotor system at the top separated from the aircraft, which makes sense with the way it devastatingly plunged. Normally you would have a rotor system there to auto rotate and help cushion the fall and maintain some control, and that pilot had no control of that aircraft.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy pointed out that this airspace had special flight rules that don't require air traffic control. I wonder, how unusual is that, and how much more challenging is it for pilots?
We're used to it. We're used to flying lower and slower and maintaining visual space and things like that. It's not the same as like the DCA, where there were other aircraft in the area that were impacting and the cause of crash. This was, I believe there's 3 things that could have possibly caused this.
Talk to us about that. What is that?
You want to know? I was gonna say, you want to know those. So the 3 things are, it was either mechanical, obviously something mechanical went wrong, but specifically it could have been maintenance related, and it could have been metal fatigue and shear from the metal itself. So those are things that the NTSB will be deeply investigating with something that happened that was this shocking, because this just shouldn't happen. A rotor system doesn't separate from an aircraft.
It is also shocking. And of course, we can't help but think of some of the other incidents that we have had to cover lately in recent months and years. Are helicopters inherently more dangerous than airplanes?
Well, there's a lot more moving parts on a helicopter than there are in an airplane. The thing that helicopter pilots joke about is that we beat the air into submission. where it's a little more likely to have maintenance is more. The time is more. It's still probably safer than your car. In fact, I looked up some stats, and we average around 100 helicopter incidences a year in the U.S. Many of those don't even make the news.
Wow. And we have been told this is a tourist flight. We see a lot of those helicopter tours in other places. I'm thinking about the Hawaiian coast, the Grand Canyon, for example. Would you take a helicopter tour?
I just took the New York City one in December. So anytime you leave your home, there's a safety issue in your own personal vehicle, when you're riding in someone else's vehicle, when you're on any kind of transportation, there's inherently a risk, but it's an acceptable risk. It's not something that's out of the norm of what we do in modern technology and modern life.
Elizabeth McCormick, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your expertise and perspective on this tragic situation. Thank you.